Yo, turn me up, yo. Okay. The world is what we make it when we visualize. It's in your eyes. Realize. Stay alert. See your inbox and don't blink. Don't blink. Check it out. Yo, go Phinc. Go.
So do you think there's a science to coming up with good ideas?
Yes. There is a science. There should be a science, right? I've spoken a lot about coming up or developing a science to anything that you're doing, because only then can you replicate success. So what it is developing a science or creating science means you're creating a methodology, coming up with a formula, and knowing that every time you apply certain things within that parameter, within that formula, you're always guaranteed to get the type of results that you want. All right, so yes, there is a science. What works for me, or the way I've made a science out of it, so there is a science, but everybody should have their own science. Yeah. So for me, what has worked is, one, I'm very observant, and I think it helps. So regardless of what it is that I experience from a day-to-day basis, I do not know what it is that would inspire the next idea. So I'm observant. I'm looking. If I'm watching a movie, I'm soaking in. I'm understanding what I'm seeing and things that hit me. You know, I allow things to hit me from whatever it is that I am seeing, and I take it in. So that's one, be observant. Second is capture, right? There are a number of things that hit me so hard, you know, when I'm experiencing life and experiencing different things in life, that I say to myself, take it down. Either write it down, type it down, or take a picture of it. Either way, capture it, right? So yes, it's not just enough to observe. The next is, for the ones that hit you hard, that inspire you, that touch something within you, take it down, right? I also design. So if I see a design that gets me, interests me, I either take a screenshot of it or take it down. I capture it. Yes. Another thing will be something that I call modify, copy, modify, deploy. Right. So for some of the things that I capture, right, it's not like I did it, but for those things, there's some things that I'll capture that, you know, the next time I'm in a project, that thing that I saw is the exact type of thing that needs to be done. However, what I do is I look for what the story is within that project, and I say, okay, how do I modify this thing to tell that story? Also, because my style as a person is different, how do I also infuse my style with this style that is here, and also bring in that story? In the end, it never is like the original idea that I captured, but it forms like, it becomes a starting place, right, for me to jump off to come up with an idea. So that's another one. Another one is superimpose. So if I'm very observant and capturing all these things, it is possible that something that is so mainstream and commonplace in one industry can be taken and moved to another industry, and it will look so out of the box, right? So another thing I do is superimpose. So for example, I might be sitting in a hospital waiting room and going through the process of registering, of making sure, getting to see the consultant, and something might hit me, and I say, you know what, I'll take this down. And then realize that I'm working on a tech project or a project for a telco industry, and it just will hit me, you know, when I want to achieve something that, you know what, the guys in the medical sector are doing this sort of thing, right? So I superimpose this on this new industry, and in the end, a great idea comes out of it. I think the last one that comes to mind is something I call springboard, which is to always consider that every idea you come up with or every project you're working on is the beginning of another project. So wherever it ends is the start for another one. And as a result, how do I come up with an idea now that makes it easy for me to start what the next thing is, right? So you're working on a project or working on a business or working on a life goal, and you know what it is that you want to do in this step now. You should always ask yourself, okay, I know what this step is. I need to come up with an idea for this step, but also what is the next step, right? If you know what the next step is after this step, then there's a way you can come up with an idea for this one and then jump off and make it such a way that it becomes so seamless when you jump off from this to the next one. So that's pretty much how, I would develop a science, to coming up with ideas.